Here's
because they
the thing:
already
the
ended
Jurassic
it.
World dinosaurs compared to the Jurassic Park dinosaurs, Jurassic Park dinosaurs, even now on the remastered, look 10 times better than the world ones.
I know.
For the most part, they're actually
Practical.
practical. They sparingly use CGI.
However, I noticed a similar thing with the Mummy series and Brendan Fraser's The Mummy. The special effects look great. In The Mummy 2, it looked computerish.
Whoa,
well, definitely
that's
when you see
actually
the
another idea
scorpion.
I gotta ask you guys.
The
And believe it or
scorpion
not, there was actually a lot of CGI in the Mummy. But they did back then. They just they did it better. They didn't just rely on it as a crutch. It was a tool in their arsenal of tools, and not just screw everything else. Let's just CGI. Because
guys,
They were combining
I wanna
practical with CGI, weren't they?
Oh, yes. In fact, there was a sequence, the opening shot, believe it or not, was saved by CGI. Most people think that's an overall CGI shot, but it's actually a miniature shot. But the problem was that when they made the miniature and they filmed it, they got the shadows on the wrong side.
Camera, it's stopping. Sorry. Didn't mean to stop you.
They put the shadows on the wrong side, so they had to go through frame by frame and essentially rotoscope it, which is essentially just painting over it to put the shadows on the right side where they're supposed to be.
You know what? If this was Marvel, they would have just left it.
Yeah. They would have made it all CGI. It was made in all 3D programs like video games. And then the actors been in front of the screen.
I know you guys are going to hate me for saying this.
Oh my God, I can't believe you said that.
You fucking disgust me, you bitch.
But that was actually one of the things I did enjoy about J.J. Abrams' Star Trek was he used a lot of practical effects and then CGI to curve those outside of, when they're flying in space. But when they're actually fighting and stuff, he went back to old school and then used CGI more as a tool than anything.
Yeah, then he also put a bunch of lens flares that where everyone's like, God damn it.
He really fell in love with the lens flare.
Guys, I want to ask you guys something then. You guys write books. You guys got them published. What would you guys like to use for special effects? Would you guys want to go for more CGI or more practical effects?
I like
whatever works
Hollywood
best in the
practical.
scenario.
I say both because I've seen guys that go all practical, and there's areas that CGI has mastered that can make their work both safer and actually more effective on the screen. A la Christopher Nolan in what was that war movie he made? Dunkirk. He should have used CGI on the beach.
No, you're fair on that.
Because that beach was damn near empty, and that place should have been praised and swarmed with people. And CGI has basically mastered big crowds of people, and has also mastered compositing vehicles next to each other, which is why in a lot of movies you see where cars are racing against each other, there's basically only one car, and then they refilm it with another car, and then they CGI them next to each other, and you don't even notice. Good
James,
shot of that is Mad Max.
What you're saying is do like movies used to do in the late 80s and 90s. Mix them both.
Yeah, and use today's technologies. Another great one would be Lord of the Rings, where they had kind of like foamy swords for when you're far away, but when they were close to the screen, they actually had a smith make the swords, and they'd hold real swords right next to the screen because nothing would look better in someone's hands than that.
Yep.
Yeah, they also killed off, what's his name? The Aragorn. Because they forgot to switch out the daggers. They threw a real fucking dagger at him.
Oh, yeah.
Ego Morrison. That's what I was trying to think of.
But yeah, no, I agree. But the thing is that the practical effects have come so far that there's certain, like you said, there's certain things you can do with CGI that makes it cheaper. But the practical effects have come so far that I think for the majority of what you need to do, it covers everything. I mean, take a look at Alien and Aliens. Those are all practical effects.
Yeah. Or James Cameron's Titanic. He used CGI.
Or even Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Look at Kurt Russell in the opening scene. That was done mostly with prosthetics and makeup, not CGI. And it looked awesome.
Yeah. And Mystique too in the X-Men, in the first 3 X-Men movies.
And guys, we are forgetting the Dark Crystal.
Hold up, I'm confused. What she's saying.
What's that? This one?
Practical, but CGI can't be done safely or realistically. I don't.
Maybe she means can be
Use
done
CGI to
safely.
enhance.
No. Use CGI if it cannot be done safely or realistically.
Oh, okay. I was confused what she was saying.
Yeah, it's only going to save you a lot of money. A lot of money.
I think what she was saying is she has spoken and Billy Bob needs to be quiet.
Well,
that is
the
also
queen
a
has
valid
spoken, Billy.
interpretation.
Well, for my money, at the very least, I would want to go for a lot of the creature designs I got in my head. I want to use as much practical designs as I can. But for the more, let's say space heavy stuff, the mechs and all the good stuff I got planned in, I would have to use CGI at the very least for the action scenes. But for the
models can be
used
used for space shots too.
But
yeah,
there is something about, I think, practical ships in space that is very visually appealing.
And also, one thing that people don't bring a lot is style, because people always say practical. But there's also a style to CGI where a lot of people try to make it like this. It's like guess what I'm saying is like they try to go for the same style in Hollywood. But if you actually look at other CGI works outside of Hollywood, like Shin Godzilla, where Godzilla was completely CGI, but made to look like a guy in a suit, not like a real big monster in a city. And then it looks like a guy in a suit. So there's also that, you could also bring in style as well.
Be right back.
Well, I think one of the best. I think one of the best formulas is still use a practical effect and then use CGI to just smooth out the seams a bit.
And I also feel
what best applications.
What caused the issue in Dunkirk is Nolan. He didn't want to change his style, which his style is fantastic when it's done great, but you sometimes had to adapt to a situation.
Yeah,
you need to listen to other people. Cinematographers can help definitely make a shot go from seeing all the flaws to hiding all the flaws. I think that's where Dunkirk. His biggest issue is that he went so realistic that he didn't think of, minus the fact that the beaches are so empty, there's also the fact that he's like, I want to shoot at Dunkirk.
Yeah.
That's great, but they weren't allowed to do any set dressing in Dunkirk, other than maybe a few posters and stuff. So it's modern day Dunkirk. It's not 1940 Dunkirk.
War 1940 Dunkirk.